Hello, this is Dirty 20 Gaming. My name is Kevin, and my wonderful friends have joined us here this evening to play a wonderful game, and that makes me very, very happy. We're going to introduce the people first, and then we're going to get started, because that's how we do it around here. We're going to start with Sarah. Tell us all about yourself. What are you doing? Even the stuff you're not allowed to talk about. Talk about not being able to talk about it.
So I have a YouTube channel called Dangor Productions. I'm working on a wonderful project called Bravely Broken with the Scarred Adventure. I also run Thursday night called Deviant Futures, and I am in the Sunday game as a player. I think I covered it all.
There's probably a bunch of other stuff, but that'll do. That'll keep him busy. Look at all those links. Oh, thank you for joining us. Next, Nick, what are you up to?
I am up to work when they want me in, but otherwise I'm in the Discord, which I've been in less often.
Yes. Well, plus you're playing here.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm also here on like Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Yes, kind of.
Trying not to die.
So yeah, so multiple nights a week. It sounds like you people spend as much time here as I do. This is amazing. Next, Shadowmancer. Where can we find you?
Oh, well, you'll find me here on Sundays and Thursdays with Gorgeous Theta and Deviant Futures. And other than that, you'll find me on my own channel of DDR. We're not streaming at the moment, but we do have a Discord channel, and I still need to make a link for that. I still haven't done that.
Yeah, you should do that. All right. Well, while you do that and post it, I will move on. They've been here once before, and they're back again, so we must have done something right. Thank you once again for joining us, Amy.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us. What else are you doing?
I've got a few games in other communities. 2 5e games and a Pathfinder 2e game, and I play Final Fantasy 14, Pokemon Violet, RuneScape, hang out in Discord.
Wow, excellent. That's a lot of stuff for somebody who almost said that they didn't do anything.
No links to share, but
well, thank you very much for joining us, and thank you for joining this game when we asked. I think it's going to be a lot of fun for everybody involved. But that brings us around to the the Bat Kyle. I'm going to get some special effects for this at some point. But yes, where else are you?
I begrudgingly exist slightly on the internet at this point. I'm in this game on Tuesdays, running it, of course, for your sins, all of your sins, which must have been pretty dark. Along with that, there may be something happening on Mondays here coming up, but that's all I can say about that.
Yep.
Very excited about it, though. Besides that, I'm on in several different channels on Twitch, so you'll see me generally bullying streamers, and including my lovely wife, Blaze of Gloriosa. You may know her and love her from multiple games on Wednesdays and Sundays here, as well as being a producer. And that's all I'm going to say about that.
Well, you get caught up on chat because it was looking good. It was looking good, and then they got in close, and oof. Anyway, that brings it around to me. I'm not going to talk about me. I'm going to talk about Dirty 20. 6 nights a week at the moment. So every night except for Mondays at the moment, and we may be fixing that. We will be fixing that. It's a secret, so shush. But so many nights of the week you will find us here. But tonight is this night of the week. So with that and no further ado, because there's nobody we need to thank because we're not showing anybody's anything, I hand it over to our Marshall Batcow with Marshall Batcow with. Do you have your deputy with you? Deputy Hat.
Deputy Hat is with us, as always.
Excellent. You can tell he's the police.
Yep.
All right. Take us away.
Okay. When last we left everybody, let's see, Elizabeth was still recovering from a terrible case of hives, thanks to that quirk of never labeling bottles, which somehow has not yet catastrophically destroyed her and everything around her. The rest of the group had changed their names and run away through the desert, hopping a train from a small depot to Tombstone, because it's known that after a successful heist, Honest John likes to show up in Tombstone, throw money around, cause some chaos, really throw just a total rager, and then vanish again. So this is kind of the hope that they can catch up to him and make some things happen. Now, on their first day in Tombstone, they managed to do a couple different things, not the least of which was cause an unsolved murder that's currently the talk of the town, when somebody was found melted in an outhouse. Melted from the waist up. Yes.
By way of the rectal area, if anybody was wondering.
Yes, we had to clarify that. I think we need a content warning for Honest John as well.
All of the shows do now.
They kind of do.
It's just a bum joke.
Now, they got established. They're getting ready to start trying to find Honest John. Their cover is that they were hired by the Pinkertons, or at least contracted by the Pinkertons, to find a pair of antique pistols that were part of the collection that was stolen from the train, which is a decent cover. And they managed to put something together that did not look like it was made by somebody with crayons and the artistic talent of a stunned halibut. So, with those positives in mind, Elizabeth, you're not itching anymore, but you know something is very wrong, because not super long, only a couple of hours after the job was supposed to have been completed and you were supposed to have been contacted to GTFO, nobody's contacted you, but there's a whole lot of hullabaloo outside the casino and inn where the train had left. If you peek out the window, because you have one, it's not a very big one. They're nice rooms, but glass is expensive that far out. You will see lots of angry-looking men and women with guns. Some of them have badges. Many of them do not. But something I would imagine in your gut says, "Oh crap! What did they do?"
It's not only what did they do, what did my brother get into?
That's a good question. Now, give me a notice roll, if you would, while you're looking out the window.
Okay. Someone remind me how to do this again. I'm sorry.
It should be your skill and a D6, whatever the die is for that skill. And
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, the D6 just as your wild die.
6.
Outstanding. You notice some of the folks with badges conferring and then pointing at the hotel, and a large contingent of people start peeling off and heading towards the hotel.
I start packing everything I can as quickly as I can. And I'm definitely going to hide the way I look, so I'm going to look less feminine, more masculine. Make sure to put a hat on my face to hide it. And just gonna kind of walk out very calmly.
Okay.
And not try and say a thing in case anyone recognizes my voice.
So, okay, I gotcha. Do you have any skills that would aid you in acting like you are not you?
Only luck.
You know what? I'm gonna allow it. Give me a D6. Just give me the wild die straight. Let's see if
3.
Unfortunately, you set about you open the door, close the door. You don't really see anybody. You set one foot on the steps, and you hear, "Hey!" And like the thundering of boots coming up the steps.
I'm sorry if no one understands what I'm about to say.
Okay.
Entschuldigung. Ich nicht sprechen Sie English. Was ist mit du?
They're casting a spell. Get him!
But Entschuldigung? Nein.
You hear some clicking of guns. Nobody is stopping, and absolutely nobody recognizes German.
I'm immediately like running back in my room, closing the door. I'm gonna try and go out through the window.
All right. You close the door, and
No, I'm good
before
at.
before you get to the window, you hear a chuckle in the room with you, and rather deep voices. That was the funniest thing I have seen in weeks.
I'm
Now, would
sorry.
you like? Yeah.
Who are you? Who is this person?
You don't know. You don't recognize him. When you turn, you see just kind of standing in the corner, sort of arms crossed, leaning against the wall. Rather older Native American gentleman in a really nice suit. Like everything's really, really polished buttons, hair braided. Looks like he has bathed recently, which is not super common for the area, of course. And he says, "I am someone who knows what happened, and would like to help you and whichever of your compatriots remain alive to get revenge."
I'm
Now,
hoping one of them compatriots is my brother.
It's the dirty one-armed one.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know. I just know who all was together, but I know where they ended up. I know somewhat what happened, and I can get you out of this without, a rope and tar and feathers being involved.
That sounds mighty nice. What's your plan?
Take my hand.
And she will.
He closes his hand over her fingers, closes his eyes for a moment, and all of a sudden the world twists in a really kind of nauseating way, like, severe vertigo. I'm not going to make you roll to keep your meal down, but it's a close thing no matter what on that one. But
I'm still gonna do it.
okay, give me the
I
roll.
got a 4.
Okay, that's just enough to not hork all over the nice, well put together gentleman who's saving your life. When the twisting stops, and it seems like it takes both forever and almost in just a couple seconds, you find yourself behind a building that seems like out at the edge of town, and he is pointing to the back of a covered wagon that is already hitched to a horse.
Thank you, Sid. Just if I see you again, please warn me before you do that.
Maybe. I got to get my fun somehow. So anyway, we're headed to Tombstone. So just lay low, stay in the bottom. There's some jerky, hardtack, cheese, and plenty of water. We're going to need it since we're going to kind of stay off the roads as much as we can. It'll be a faster trip than you think, but not as long as you'd like.
It's gotta be better than being caught.
This is very true. This is very true. All right. So you are on your magical mystery tour. And that's going to take place while they had their magical mystery tour last session. So you're going to get in town, actually, surprisingly, about the same time they do. You're just not going to meet up with them yet, but we'll get to that.
All right.
First, he wants to take you somewhere. Are you okay with that? I mean, I'm not going to stop you.
Yeah. I'm good.
Okay,
I'm good.
Just making sure, because you're
She's
like,
just-
no, screw this, and throw a random vial at him and run away. It's
No, she's going to follow because she's like, what else am I gonna do? And plus, she is already very curious because this guy's obviously magic. And
give me another notice roll when he goes to help you out of the wagon.
3.
Absolutely nothing strange about this guy whatsoever. Totally
perfectly
up and
normal.
up. All right, so when you finally get to peek your head up, you are in Tombstone. Has Elizabeth ever been to Tombstone before?
Probably not. No.
Okay. Then Tombstone is, for the territory in the area, a very big town. It's a boom town. There's silver. They found some ghost rock. Not a lot, but even a little bit is definitely a cause for avarice, murder, and all the other things that go with capitalism. And it is bustling. Nobody even seems to notice that you sort of just scoot out from a wagon you were obviously hiding in. You're probably not the only one who's coming to town hidden. You're not the only one who's probably going to leave the town hidden. It's just that kind of town. Mix of people, high rollers, beggars, just everything and anything. And if you want to find it, you can probably find it to buy. It just may not be actually what they said it was. Now,
The perfect town for Elizabeth.
oh yeah, exactly. It's like, I think this will cure that itch. Good times. Now, he has parked the wagon next to an inn. A pretty big one, not the fanciest inn by any means, but a still pretty nice place to kick, put up your feet. They do long-term room rentals and leads you inside. Nobody seems to really recognize him when he steps inside, and he doesn't seem to be terribly bothered by that. However, I'm going to give you one more notice roll. Just
9.
nice. Okay, there you go. You finally notice when you step out, just before he steps into the saloon, the sun is high in the sky, it's very bright. He doesn't have a shadow at all. There's no shadow cast in any direction, no matter where the light is hitting him.
She doesn't know what that means.
No, but it's something to note, because it's
Yeah.
not common even in Deadlands. He leads you inside and just takes you to an empty table and says, have a seat, wait here. I need to go get somebody. And then we can meet up with the rest of your group. And of course, a waitress comes over, takes an order, whatnot, and leaves you to your own devices, whatever they may be. As the gentleman who hasn't given you his name yet slips back out, and Irene.
Yes.
Where would Irene be staying in Tombstone, having tried to put some roots down here?
She's probably standing in the inn looking at it, trying to find a house or build a house.
Beautiful.
Making it plain to folks around town. She's looking to put down roots here.
Oh, good, good. Well, there's a knock at your door. A very polite knock, not a policeman's knock or a posse knock or a hey, where's my rent knock, but a very polite at the door.
What is it?
Someone who has information you may find of value.
She'll pull her duster on and open the door and raise an eyebrow and say, "Yeah, what kind of information you talking about?"
I happen to know, he looks down the hallway one way, looks down the hallway the other way, that a certain gentleman you are very interested in has just played his tricks again. And those who were drawn into his web are in town trying to find him. I thought you might want to meet them.
Irene just stares at him blankly.
Modest John.
Oh, that bastard.
That bastard.
And who might you be?
I've known by a lot of names, but you can just call me Hank.
And who are these friends of yours?
These, I wouldn't call them friends of mine. I'm not sure if I would call them friends of anyone specifically. But very recently, as in yesterday, John arranged for a very high-profile train heist. He contacted certain individuals with certain skills. Not bad individuals, but individuals who could definitely use the notoriety and maybe the money that came from this heist. And John, being John, screwed them royally, and no reach around was given.
Yeah, sounds like the man I've heard so many rumors about.
Indeed, it is very, very classic John. So, given your interest in cleaning up Tombstone and your interest in putting down roots here and making it stable, and your dislike for John, I just thought I could introduce you to everybody and just see if maybe you all could find some common ground.
I might be interested in meeting these folks.
Well, outstanding. If you would follow me, one of them is currently in the eating area, the tavern, just downstairs. And then the rest, once you have made the acquaintance of her, we will just go meet the rest and see how things play out.
All right, then.
All right. And then he turns and heads back down to the tavern area. And this is where Irene can describe Irene.
All right. Irene's a short woman, to say the least. She's about 5 foot tall, wearing a duster and chaps and boots. Got a fine Stetson on her head, and two very obvious pistols hanging off the gun belt on her waist. And she's walking with the gait of someone who's spent most of her life on horseback. Red hair, gray eyes. Yeah.
Outstanding. I know it's been a little bit, so Elizabeth, if you wanted to give just a quick description for any new viewers and for Irene.
So Elizabeth is about 5'4", 5'10", or not 5'10", 5'4", 5'5". There we go. Brain.
Somewhere in there.
A little bit of it.
Range.
And so she probably has her jacket off, honestly, to show like a shirt, like part of a tight waist, pants, with some bottles hanging off, and her goggles, of course, above her, on her head.
Outstanding. Well, Hank smiles benevolently, white, bright teeth, and says, Irene, this is... I will caution that it seems the rest of your compatriots thought it best to not be working under their usual names, shall we say? But I'll give you a chance to decide if that's the course you would also like to follow.
Oh God, I hadn't thought of another name. Yeah.
Well, Irene wouldn't need to change it. Irene wasn't part of a train heist.
Yeah.
My brother and I had a contingency for this, if anything ever went wrong. Call me Amanda Amboss. Hold on.
Amanda. Irene? Amanda. Irene. Irene has a stake in ridding Tombstone of certain undesirables, and you have a stake in finding certain undesirables, as do I. So I thought you should meet. And if you are both amenable, I can lead you to where everybody else is.
That would be very nice of you. Thank you.
All right, then. He will just turn once again, hands behind his back, just kind of loosely holding his wrist, and stroll away as though there's no hurry, there's no rush. You got all day. And while doing so, he'll point out certain things about the town. This place is actually a really good place to get, more bullets than you should probably need. And this place is a great place to catch the kind of venereal disease that will actually mean you can never touch another human again in your life. Just, the various sights and pleasantries that can be found in a Wild West boom town that includes mad science.
Mm-hmm.
So, pretty soon, I should probably just check and see. Were you all sharing one room? Bang, Alex, Moses, were you all sharing one
think
room in
we-
that hotel, or did you all have your own rooms?
I think we had our own, I believe.
You're muted.
Oops.
Paid for
Yeah.
multiple rooms.
Okay.
We each had our own.
Well then, going down the way, just on each door, there's a sharp knock.
Roll out of bed. I've probably got a little drink left from last night. Just something. It's just an excuse to burn Ghost Rock anyway. The little chip of Ghost Rock underneath the last of last night's whiskey, light it on fire. So for breakfast I have, and then out the door
Nice.
and down the stairs.
All right. Well, you don't have to go down the stairs
Or-
necessarily,
okay.
depending. Hank, a gentleman you can guarantee you've never met before in your life,
Mhm.
simply smiles and says, Mr. Miner, correct?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Minor.
Exactly.
I'm
Minor,
really
minor.
small.
But you pack a big punch.
I blow shit up. Who are you?
I'm Hank, and
Hi,
I bring
Hank.
you some friends to discuss certain matters.
I don't have any friends.
Well, that's
Well-
rude of you to say.
Oh, you. Oh, I thought he meant like other people. Oh, wow. It's good to see you. Person I've never met before.
The
Hello.
bang.
Hello, person I've never met before.
Hello, strange. Are you drunk?
Not really.
He's always like this.
Can confirm. Alexander, Moses, are either of you going to answer your doors?
Oh yeah, I was just kind of waiting for conversation to die down a little bit.
Okay.
Wouldn't want to keep the missus waiting too long.
Well, all right then.
Oh man, wouldn't necessarily want to keep you waiting either, but
just got weird.
Somebody here.
I mean, I
banjos?
wouldn't necessarily.
Okay.
I mean, the delivery for the client went well. One red and what is it? 4 white flowers.
Yes, it sounds like it. I will say though, you could have warned me before you left. Did things get that bad?
We're literally in a town that people come and go in. And I did sell the fancy clothes. Not going to apologize for that. And we have no idea, who we're trying to track down, just that we are. So, I mean, I'd leave you the interest, Miss Ambashore. I'd leave it to you to figure out how bad things might be.
I'm just glad you're safe.
And I to you as well.
Moses?
Well, before Moses answers the door, he's got his pistol out and cocked,
Of course.
and It is pointed directly at the center of the door as he opens it slowly.
And you see the gathering in the hallways. 2 people you don't know, 3 people you might, slightly regret knowing.
No regrets yet. Uncock the pistol, holster it. Wait a minute. I just sent the telegram yesterday. You shouldn't be here yet.
Yeah, you never did get that telegram, by the way.
Unfortunately, I didn't get a telegram, but a nice gentleman helped me to find you all.
A gentleman.
That would be me. And possibly that's the nicest thing I've been called recently.
That can
So-
seem
Yes, I can be a bit infuriating, I know. Isn't it great? So, we all have, well, the majority of us have something in common, and one of us has an interest that runs parallel. I would like to invite you all to come with me and discuss these matters in a more convivial and more private setting.
First, answer me this. Who are you?
I'm Hank.
Hank.
Hank. It's a good name, a masculine name.
Generic name.
Very generic name as well, yes.
And-
Oh, Hank.
Pardon me, ma'am, with the shiny hog's legs there. Who are you?
Believe he's talking to you, Irene.
I'm a concerned citizen interested in taking out this associate that Hank here says screwed you over. That's Honest John. My name's Irene.
Nice to meet you, Irene. I'm Moses.
And nice to meet you. Pot any seas lately?
Pardon?
Part any seas lately?
Art in Eve.
That's where I knew
Or
that
any
name
seas
from.
recently.
That's where I knew it from. Oh,
I may be aged, but I'm not that old.
Good response.
Yes, we're doing introductions. Alexander at your service.
Nice to meet you.
and I am very definitely minor.
Hmm.
I already introduced myself to you, Amanda and Oswald.
Right. Now, as you said, Hank, how about a little bit less of a public place to have our discussion?
Of course. Please, if you'll all follow me. And once again, he just strolls on through, down the stairs, out the door. It doesn't seem like when you're outside anybody recognizes him, but somehow people just kind of get out of the way. There's no fear. It's not like oh God, it's Hank, or anything like that. It's just wherever he's going, suddenly people just have a reason not to be there anymore. And it doesn't, for those of you who are observant, I'm not going to make you roll. That hasn't been going great for everybody tonight. But for those of you who consider yourselves observant characters, you'll notice that they don't seem to be consciously doing it.
That's what I was just about to ask. Yeah, they're just sort of okay.
He leads you down the street, then down an alley to a very nice house, not ostentatious, clearly recently built. Nice big porch on the front. Definitely looks like if you open up the windows, you can get what passes for a breeze in Tombstone, though you may not want to. You don't have to have been to Phoenix to know what I'm talking about. You just need to know that Arizona is the devil's microwave.
I was going to say, I've seen a convection oven work.
Yep, exactly. So he just marches right up the stairs, turns one of the shiny brass doorknobs, swings it open, invites everybody inside. It's pretty well appointed inside. There's a bit of brass work, not a lot, because once again, everything in Tombstone is more expensive. And if it isn't, you should be suspicious. Very suspicious. But definitely about as tasteful as you're going to find, unless somebody's willing to dump just incredible amounts of wealth to show people that they had a bunch of wealth that they no longer have because it's in the furnishings. Leads you just turns left right through there, opens a pair of double doors, glassed double doors, so of course fairly expensive, well maintained, polished. There's a sitting room, lots of couches and chairs, no fireplace. Once again, Arizona. And, kind of a waste of good stone at that point. And he just gestures around to the various chairs. Please everybody have a seat. Would anybody like something to drink? Being a very gracious host.
Oh,
Any
yeah,
nipples?
bangs all over that shit. Yeah. Yes, please.
Okay. He pours you a little whiskey and even fishes around and even puts a little sliver of ghost rock under it for you.
Oh, shit, you're good.
I try to stay informed. Anybody else?
Water, if you would.
I have water, and actually water that you can trust. It's been double boiled and run through a cloth wrapped around a whole lot of charcoal. And then boiled again. Okay. Hands out some glasses. And Moses?
Whiskey, please.
Absolutely. Neat.
Yes.
Pours you 2 fingers, hands you the glass, takes a seat, crosses one leg over the other, steeples his fingers, and says, now that we're away from prying ears, all but one of us has been stolen from by Honest John. All but one of us has deeply regretted their involvement with Honest John. I know what he did to you, or at least have a rough idea of what he did to you because I was watching. Unfortunately, I couldn't get close enough to issue a warning before what happened.
He
First
stole my
question.
heart. You're magic. Sorry to interrupt.
First question, Hank. How did you know to be watching?
I have been keeping tabs on John for some time. Unfortunately, certain circumstances prevent me from directly interfering in his affairs.
Then you know what he is.
I do. He's an abomination, and he's only gotten stronger.
That's because he stole my heart.
Can someone fill me in?
I'll let the people who were there describe the aftermath. Or the
Here.
during.
The piece of ghost rock John sent us after had a special property that he didn't bother to disclose to us. If you strike it with a tuning fork, it paralyzes those nearby who are still among the living. Honest John is no longer among the living. So he stole the ghost rock and everything else in the cart and rode off with the horses, leaving us to either die or take the fall, or both, depending on whether or not the posse got there fast enough.
Yeah, detonated the treasure card just to be sure.
All right. Anyone have any clues as where he's possibly at?
here in Tombstone.
Expecting him here shortly.
Now, a mistake he made, of many, was letting us see what was in that treasure car other than the stone. So we set about a bit of a rumor mill that the Pinkertons are looking for part of that treasure cart here in Tombstone. So if he shows up with it, we'll know. The other mistake was not putting a bullet in each one of us before he rode off.
Hubris is very much one of John's defining traits.
Forgive me, Hank, but I trusted one man based off reputation, and you don't even have a reputation. Why are you doing this?
Simple, because he stole from me as well. And he gets up and he adjusts some of the lights and things. And I'm not going to make anybody roll a notice roll. He's making it very clear that he doesn't have a shadow. No matter how the light falls, no matter where he stands or moves, he casts absolutely no shadow whatsoever.
I saw that earlier, and what does that mean?
That's how Honest John does his shadow magic.
It is. He didn't used to have it. I used to have it. And I used to put it to good use until I trusted the one man that I shouldn't have. I generally think myself a good judge of character, but he took me in. I will not, try to hide that failing. He took me in. We made a plan. He roped a couple other people in. And by the end of it, I had no shadow. They didn't have their lives, and John had everything.
Huh.
I need my shadow back.
I mean, you've definitely shown that you don't have a shadow, but one doesn't exactly steal one.
They do if they find the right artifact and know what to do with it.
So we'd need to track down such an artifact if we were to try to reclaim your shadow, is what you're trying to imply.
John will have the artifact on him.
Okay.
He can't control, the shadow won't bind itself to him like it did to me. It's my shadow. The artifact lets him use it as though he was me, but he must keep the artifact with him and he must charge it. You don't want to know how that's charged.
How large is this artifact?
I'm sorry?
How large is this artifact?
Very narrow. It's a piece of carved bone, capped at each end with a bit of silver and ghost rock. Mr. Miner, I'll have to ask you when the time comes to please not snort my artifact.
Oh, I wouldn't do that. I got lots of my own. I got this other new stuff too, but I got to figure out how to get. Anyway, I have a big question for you.
Irene shifts away from Bang.
Ask away.
You just said that you don't trust your judgment of character. So how do we know we can trust us?
Whether or not you can trust yourself is a question only you can answer. Do you trust yourself?
Implicitly.
Well then, obviously you can trust yourself. Do you trust the rest of your group?
Oh, even more than I trust me. I've almost blown me up.
Well, there you go. Then we can definitely trust us.
And by extension, we should somehow trust you, even though you don't have a shadow and your magic, and I don't know who you are, really?
Yes.
Okay, just so we understand.
Wonderful.
And what's to stop you from betraying us once we fix this whole Honest John business?
What's to stop you from betraying me when we fix this Honest John business?
If anybody betrays me, about an acre and a half of the land is going to go fucking boom, so I probably wouldn't do that.
Irene moves farther away from Bang.
Seidel. Seidel.
Only an acre and a half, Minor? You're getting soft.
That's how much you got left.
Oh, this new stuff makes a gas that melts people.
And you know how?
I could show you, but it would get us all arrested.
Ah, so you were the one they were talking about.
Yeah, I melted an asshole last night.
You melted more than his asshole.
I understood that all of them was an asshole.
Well, then, in that case, you did melt an asshole.
I did. It was a public service, really.
Aaron keeps moving away from Bang.
This fresh set of eyes is nice.
Moses moves closer to the door.
Yeah.
Before you go sneaking out that door, ma'am, what's your stake in this?
I've been all over these parts. I rode Pony Express for 15 years or more. I've seen this John's handiwork. I've seen the lives he's ruined. I aim to put a stop to that.
You a blood hunter?
Just a citizen who thinks there ought to be a little bit less evil in this world.
Well, I'm suspecting before we go too much further, we need to understand what your definition of evil may be. Slight glance towards Minor.
You know,
See, I've been in towns where folk believe someone who drinks is evil, or someone who gambles is evil.
if it ain't harming no one, I don't see no foul in it.
Good to know that we see fairly good at eye to eye. Glancing at Minor once more.
So,
Well
I
then,
think I want to stay away from that acre and a half, though.
that would be prudent.
So, if you don't mind my prying question, Irene, what do you find yourself particularly handy with in these parts?
I'm quick on a horse, quick on the draw. I rode past natives and rail bandits and all sorts of other unsavory folks while delivering the mail. Ain't seen someone I couldn't outshoot yet.
Well then, you're looking to put down this evil. We're looking to get back from this evil what was taken from us. You have any issues with that?
Not particularly. As long as we keep the collateral damage down. She looks at Bang.
Oh yeah, I'm
I
only
mean-
going to kill him once.
Are we talking like city limits collateral, or are we talking like in general?
Huh?
I think they mean just him.
Innocent people.
Let's-
Don't want to see too many innocent people.
I think you're gonna have to be less specific than that. From what I've heard about Tombstone, there's only about 3 people that would make it as innocent.
Fair.
Does that include our group?
Minimize the bystanders.
It
Yeah.
does include our group, and none of them are of those 3. That
I'll
might
cop-
be awkward, but smarts is actually his highest stats.
I do believe that we should try to avoid blowing up any more bank vaults.
I mean, that was an
was an
accident on
accident.
our part.
I'm not saying it wasn't. But I believe that's what Miss Irene here means by minimizing the collateral damage.
Yeah.
Didn't think any people got hurt in that.
I mean, we definitely
Well,
lost some collateral in that whole thing.
I know of one, but that was self-inflicted.
And I will promise you all, I'll make sure Honest John pays if he hurt my brother. There ain't no question in that.
I'll
Oh.
bet.
How much pain were you in?
What did you say? I'm sorry.
Oh, I asked Alexander how much pain he was in.
I mean, no more than usual. I mean, the bullet shot mostly at you, and most of them missed somehow.
Just the luck of the draw.
I'll bet that some bitch has got a favorite bar when he comes to town.
And we
He
have a new parent.
does. That one I can tell you. Like I said, can't intervene directly, but I can tell you that the Gold Strike. God, such an unimaginative name. But the Gold Strike is his favorite watering hole in brothel. It does it all. It does it with a whole lot of red velvet and faux gold everywhere.
Okay.
It is eye-watering.
Okay. That answers
Alright.
that question.
The problem, Minor, is we can't show our faces.
Oh, there's ways to hide faces.
Minor,
I mean, Irene is the only one he hasn't seen.
this is true.
Well, he's the only one that he hasn't seen with these faces.
Hank, I heard some rumors that the marshal here in town is a former U.S. marshal.
That is
true?
correct.
There's another problem. Is if
He
it's
is-
Go ahead, Hank.
Oh, I apologize. I was just going to say he wields the power, but he's definitely far more into what it can do for him than what he can do for the people he's sworn to protect. Then again, that's the same for the mayor and pretty much every other elected official in town.
That's just a matter of course out here. After all, we saw how much control John had over his little casino town.
I think we should start a cult.
Excuse me?
A cult where everybody in it covers their faces and begs for money. Because then we will be ignored forcibly by everybody in the town and we will be able to go anywhere. And he won't see our faces.
He's got a point.
He does have a point,
I mean, that
but not my plan.
That was just a plan.
I think it's the beginning of a plan.
I saw it work in an airport once.
You know what?
What?
Sorry, wrong lifetime. Oh, sometimes these drugs make my mind absolutely bizarre. Oh,
Minor, have you had any luck trying to or tracking down the properties or of these your new ghost rock or?
oh, I know all kinds of what it does. I need to talk to you specifically about a way to make it less do what it does. I'd like to experience it, but not like the guy last night. That was bad. It was all oozy and shit.
I don't know how easy or difficult it would be to try to make a special proof for this bar that he frequents.
I don't want to kill everybody in there.
I mean, just small batch wine.
Maybe the cult gives out free drinks. And when we get to him, plop, plop, fizz, fizz. Oh, what a relief death is. I don't even know if it will work on him because he's already dead.
That was actually gonna be my question. Would
Well-
that actually work?
We also do have the disadvantage that Honest John has seen us work.
This is true.
So if he is, well, we need to make sure he does not suspect that we're even in town. If you're in on this, Miss Irene, you're going to have to be our eyes for a while until we figure out how we're going to deal with this man. This thing.
He'll probably notice if I'm lurking around too much, watching him. But yeah,
I wonder if there are rooms available in the fine location known as the Gold Strike. We can be already there, all settled in, paying by the week by the time asshole John shows up. And we had to change our name, so I changed his name too.
no, I'm pretty sure that's always been his name.
So what do you think? That way at least we're in the building.
I would mention that the rooms are very expensive in keeping with its tone and somewhat exclusive. Not terribly exclusive. If somebody shows up dirty and stinking and terrible, but they have a lot of money, the Gold Strike will be happy to take that money and possibly aid them in being less dirty and stinky. But if they show up just dirty and stinky, you're not getting anywhere.
I am dirty and stinky and broke, so unless
I
we
also
wanna-
don't think. I also don't think they'd necessarily appreciate holes in the floor.
I wasn't going to tell him about that part. We could pretend to be the band.
Can any of you play an instrument?
Not really?
Look, quick, somebody else have an idea before I have another stupid one.
So what we first need to find is a safe base of operations. That's our first, I guess, point of interest.
We do have the flop house rooms. They're fairly unnoticeable. Problem will be is getting from there to the Gold Strike and still being seen as respectable folk. Now, Lester can't go there. And Moses, well, I don't think anyone's going to mistake Moses for a respectable individual. But
Next to Bang, but
well, with a bit of a shave and a cleanup and a little bit of hair dye, I'm certain something can be managed somewhere in between Moses and Lester.
I mean, I think Amanda might have some hair dye on her. Just take a minute to find.
Good old Mo Lester.
You might.
It's
I can do this. You might need to help me. I still didn't put the label on.
There's a reason I just started using the labels as fertilizer, Amanda.
I just don't think they look nice on the bottles. Look at them without them. They look so nice. And she holds up just a random one, unknowing what it does.
Yeah, it's a beautiful rainbow, but why do you have that much?
What is the worst possible outcome of you mixing up that hair dye?
Have you ever seen one of those real fancy sheeps that just the color keeps changing?
That kind of
I
makes
mean,
it stand out.
if we dilute that right, we might be able to make it that it changes more slowly.
Come on.
Wait, that's not the effect we're going for. Sorry about that.
A simple coloring of the hair will look a bit different. I can shave.
What color is his hair right now?
Brown.
Brown. Brown's a bit more tricky
Yeah.
to eat.
I mean, we have that stuff that can make it look like very white. So your hair would look like almost like snow.
like you're old. Older.
I think that's a very good idea.
You could always, if this works and you manage not to render Moses entirely hairless, have Irene introduce whatever third name you will come up with, or stick with Moses. Either way, it's a good, strong name. I respect it. But have Irene introduce Moses around as an old fellow, postal rider, Pony Express, somebody else who's looking to settle in town and just needs a little help figuring out what's what in the town.
That works. Irene, are you comfortable with this?
Sounds workable. No, he's say he's a bit slow in his old age to help keep questions down.
What kind of tables are in the Gold Strike?
Poker tables. They have faro. They have some roulette and blackjack.
Do you have a game preference, Miss Irene?
I always did like a bit of blackjack.
That'll work. We can raise your wealth a bit at the blackjack tables.
And I just figured out a way that we don't even have to go into the Gold Strike. I
Does it
can make
involve-
everybody come out.
I think I may have got an idea as well.
Oh, you go.
Moses, you said, right? Would you be able to help Miss Irene here look a little more affluent?
Most definitely.
First step, put a shirt on her.
What I'm thinking here is, if she might look more affluent, she might look like the perfect target for Honest John's next ploy. Get him back out in the open again.
Possibly that's if Honest John, pardon the vernacular, shits where he sleeps. this is where he runs to when he's done with a job. He's not going to want to mess up that little slice of heaven.
No, but if we got the perfect chicken dinner available, he might just take the bait.
He might. Not saying it's not worth trying. Just saying don't get your hopes up.
Oh, I ain't.
Does this settle with you, Miss Irene?
I'm up for playing a bit of bait.
Minor, you said. Right? What was your idea?
I figured I can empty that building in about as fast as they can run to the door, and then in the mayhem that happens outside in the street afterwards, I can make the mayhem worse, and while all that's going on, we can make very large holes in Honest John and take what we want.
I believe collateral might be a question for that one, but not necessarily a bad plan.
I'm just gonna little itty bitty piece, just little itty bitty piece, just make it really stinky.
So get his attention with a possible target, get him out in the open, and when he's by himself, we land the ending hit.
What do we do if he runs?
Shoot him. Nobody runs that fast.
I do.
Yeah, but you're on our side, so.
I would interject here, engaging as this has been, and I think you're on a good track. You may want to remember that to a lot of people who don't dig very deep, Honest John is a hero. They sing songs about him, they tell tales about his exploits, and he throws around just enough money to seem generous to regular folk. Most people don't know him the way we have come to know him, as a backstabbing, Riesly rat bastard that I hate with the burning passion of 10,000 suns.
That's why I'm expecting that the little rumor trap that we sent out for him will be just enough to let us know he's in town, but not enough to cause him any social discomfort. I'm certain that he'll have a ready-made story about his possession of those fine antiques the moment they show up.
We gotta change the story.
Yeah, we have to change the narrative. We got to find a way to change the narrative that
Maybe the people might give him up themselves if the story changed.
that's what the Mudraker's for at the epitaph.
So what would it look like if they thought that Honest John put poison in the fountain?
Too out of character, very easy to deny.
Don't put poison in the fountain.
Well, I wasn't going.
After a certain person having a corrosive incident on a latrine beforehand, or before Honest John arrives, it would seem like there's just somebody trying to frame him.
Anybody got a tuning fork?
That only works on us.
Well, no, I believe I see what Miss Irene's implying.
That
He ain't human no more.
everyone would see.
Show him for the monster he is.
The difficulty with that is what he is now may not be publicly known about Honest John, but there's very few that'll bat two eyelashes at it and might actually add to his mystique and legend. And the fact that he has it buried in his chest make it difficult to Take
Oh,
advantage.
man.
About if Honest John stole something that was very important to the people of Tombstone and got busted with it in his ever own room?
Or
Has
is on his person.
Exactly. Then they don't like him anymore. So all we have to do is steal something that's absolutely essential to this city. Done. Easy. This is job finished. We should have some whiskey.
Sure. What's special to the people of this city then?
Ah, shit.
well,
I mean, Ghost Rock could get us pretty good.
before we burrow too deep down that rabbit hole, Hank,
Yes.
you're our local. What could happen here in Tombstone that would cause disfavor?
Oh, let's see. Nobody really likes a card cheat, but everybody expects that everybody else is cheating, so that wouldn't do it. There's no truly central item that's vital to Tombstone. Causing problems for the trains would anger some folks, but not enough to turn the whole town. There is a lot of excitement about this small seam of Ghost Rock, though. If something were happen to it or to the deed for the land, that promises to make the town a whole lot of money.
Sounds like the steed fits the bill for what Bang was talking. Or, sorry, minor.
Oh, thanks for reminding me.
I mean, if you'd make a vein of Ghost Rock inert that the town was using to, survive.
That is more what I had in mind. See, there's a secondary property of that tune and fork that we discovered. It makes Ghost Rock inert. Well, turns it in what Bang has now. Now,
It's a lot of things, but I wouldn't call it inert.
Well, for burning.
for the common use of Ghost Rock.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't run a train on it,
Mhm.
but
Now
I
the
could
diff-
sure poison a mine.
Yes, it could. It could make that seem unmineable and ruin that boomtown capability that they're planning on. What
How do
need
we
to-
make it look like Honest John did it?
That's the question.
We get him to chase us to the mine. We poison it, and they catch him and not us.
Well, we have to make sure that we're not the one. We're not being seen chased to the mine. We cannot be associated with Honest John in Tombstone whatsoever. Let me ask a question, Hank.
Please do.
See, I wasn't expecting our erstwhile herbalist here to arrive for several more days. As I said, I sent the telegram this morning, and yet you've arrived before the telegram could even arrive at her destination. Why? Not how. Why?
Why? Because A, they were going to lynch her. Somebody pointed Amanda, well, I guess Elizabeth, now that Elizabeth is dead, air quotes, out as an accomplice. Probably somebody paid by John himself. And they were on their way up the stairs to do very unpleasant things. And there weren't a lot of choices left to her. As well, the more resources, I would say, you have, or at least the more hands and minds working towards this, you've already proven that you can work together quite well. If not for John being John, you would have made it away with quite an epic haul. So, rather than waste time and risk showing up in the 11th hour when John has already shown up, started the Rager, decided to end the Rager, any number of things, I took it upon myself to use one of the few things that I can still do without my shadow to shorten the travel time and bring this unique fellowship together as quickly as possible.
Thank you for bringing out my point. While we were in his little casino town, we were seen together, associated together. And despite the fact that Amanda was nowhere near the robbery, they hunted her down. He had somebody ready-made to point her out. So if we are seen interacting with John in any way here, I'm certain he has similar individual ready-made to cover himself.
Oh, doubtless. I didn't say I could solve all of the problems, but I could bring you all together to see what could be done about these difficulties. If it was easy to kill Honest John, or even knock him down a peg, it would have happened by now.
Well, I'm certain he's been killed once already, but that is proven quite difficult to stay dead. But my point was more for my compatriots here to understand exactly what we may be dealing with and why direct confrontation is not on the table. Indirect confrontation is not on the table. We need to do what we need to do behind the scenes and not be associated with it in any discernible way. Does anybody recall what that pretty little town was called?
The one we started in?
That was Silver Springs.
No, the Ghost Rock Stone. They had some kind of name for it.
Heart of Thunder, something like that.
Oh, the stone. Sorry, I thought it was.
Yeah, the
said
Heart of
town.
Thunder.
Yeah.
Yep.
Heart of Thunder. I think our Mudraker needs to receive some anonymous tips about the Heart of Thunder, not necessarily who may be carrying it, but those properties that weren't so well known to us. Because if something similar should happen to that seam of Ghost Rock, and that Mudraker finds out about it, we've already started the rumors about the pistols. With that piece of rock being on the same train, any muckraker with his salt's going to be able to put 2 and 2 together and get 6. We just have to make sure that piece of rock gets into the mine and does its thing.
But is the piece of rock not in the chest of a certain Honest John?
It is. That's going to be the most difficult part of putting this together. But once you have the formulation of the plan, you start putting pieces together to bring it to work, just like we did with the train. So we have a point A, a point B, a point C. Now we need to fill out all those little lines between the points to make a map. But I can tell we're all a little tired from our journey. and it's going to take a little while to think on this. We have time. I have a feeling that once he gets here, Honest John's not just going to show up in the morning, drink his way to the night, and leave out the next day.
That has traditionally not been what he's done. He will spend days and days partying it up, living the good life, acting like he's not dead.
Hey,
And
does Honest John know you're alive and looking for him?
he might suspect, but he doesn't know for certain. I've gone to great lengths to make sure he does not know for certain.
I think I just found our bait to get him to the mine.
What happens to that artifact or your shadow if something happens to you?
If I pass, it stays with the artifact until either the artifact is not properly charged anymore or the artifact is broken, stolen. My shadow could conceivably outlive me by a long time
And
for a given value of live.
Explain this charging.
Charging it requires a sacrifice, an unwilling sacrifice. Most you wouldn't credit it, I suppose, but most people can't survive actually having their shadow and what it represents ripped away from them. Most people's shadows are not mystical like mine is, obviously.
Which brings up a certain problem. The split second that John thinks he's on to us, he's gone.
Which means we need to be cautious. No more melted people in outhouses.
Or anywhere else.
Let's just suffice it to say no more melting people for now.
Oh yeah, I don't need to. I learned what it does.
If you don't mind me asking, does that also include dead people? Because we may need to figure out what it does to dead people.
Well, something tells me if we go digging up the folks on Boot Hill for experimentation, we're going to be run out of town at the points of pitchforks before we even know what we're doing. So my question before I answer that is, how do you propose on getting some dead people?
I mean, is there that much difference between an animal and a people? As far as Ghost Rock is concerned?
Well, you and Mina there would be the experts on that. I know very little about the properties of Ghost Rock other than it burns, it screams, people use it to power trains and other strange machines.
I mean, went through the leather seat fine.
My big worry is that if we get him in that cave and hit the bong thing and it goes bzzz and the whole cave turns into this stuff and then somebody decides they need a pee, everybody's going to die for 100 miles.
Let's not do that.
Well, once again, we make sure the muckraker is aware of the properties.
Bang. Despite being crazy, this is your milieu, as it were,
Yeah.
and it would occur that the volume of water needs to be far more than somebody needing to take a leak to actually make it an appreciable cloud.
Oh yeah, I appreciate. I get that. I just
Okay.
making a point, and yeah, Bang gets that too. He actually has done the experiment, so yeah,
Yes. Okay.
it takes. A
Irene
whole,
knows nothing of this, so
It takes a whole a whole under a outhouse to make it go boom. So yeah.
Hank, is there a cabin or some out of the way place where we could set up an encampment out of town where we're not going to be noticed?
There are a few. Actually, yes. I have a claim that did not turn out very well. But people generally don't go out that way because it's hot as blazes. There's no valuable minerals out that way. But there is a. I'll admit, I got a little energetic about things when I thought that it was going to be a big claim. And there's a fairly sizable mining shack out there. It may not be the most comfortable, but it's secluded. Like I said, nobody's liable to go out that way because there's nothing of value out that way. You'll want to carry a lot of water with you, because there's really not a good source of potable water anywhere near the shack, which is another reason that nobody's really out that way.
I believe we can make a deal with that. Miss Irene, would you be terribly indisposed staying in town, keeping an eye out for, and then on Honest John when he arrives, and keep us appraised of his activities?
I can do that.
Then my recommendation would be that Miner, myself, and the Amazons depart separately and make our way to this claim and set up a bit of homesteading, I would suppose you would call it. It's another word that I'm looking for, but I just can't think of it off the top of my head.
Polycule.
Sorry?
Polycule.
Not quite the
Wait,
word
no.
for either, but still. Squatting. There's the word I was looking for. A little bit of land squatting. Make ourselves scarce in Tombstone until such time that we have figured out how to get John into the mine, how to get the heart out of his chest, how to activate its properties. And how to get this information to our erstwhile muckraker without it being tied back to us.
That last part I can arrange. I know people. Other people don't know that I know. So all it takes is a few handoffs, possibly a dead drop, and we can make sure that that information anonymously is received once you have it.
There we have it. Does anyone have anything else to add or any other ideas?
Mr. It was Hank. Oh, you said
Hank.
there was no potable water around, right?
Correct.
Is there
are-
still existent water?
There is still water out there, but I would not suggest drinking it, touching it, or even looking at it directly.
How come?
Well, it's how to put this exactly. Suffice to say, any pool of fluids that survives in the desert, even in shade, is going to be either inhabited or befouled. Water doesn't stay clean and pure, especially with all the mining that goes around in the area, not to mention more than a few strange experiments. Like, we here at Tombstone have definitely attracted our share of mad scientists. And the thing with mad scientists is sometimes they come up with genius inventions, and sometimes they come up with things that they just need to toss out into the desert and never think about again and hope nobody stumbles across. Most of them aren't sane enough, however, to cover their tracks terribly well.
Byron's just looking at Bang.
I mean, there's nothing left when he's done with the scene, so he covers his tracks perfectly fine.
Exactly.
But I was more interested in potentially cultivating a little bit in the area.
Well, if you want to do that, like I said, I would suggest bringing your own water, watering it yourself. As long as you don't plant it directly in one of the pools around there, you should be fine. But once again, this is kind of the high desert. This is not the most plant-friendly soil. So if you know how to encourage soil and make it a little more friendly to crops and plants and other things, then I could offer you a side job. Because God, is food expensive to get out here.
We might be a Florida botanist pair. I mean, I agree the soil is a bit more hospitable over there. But, if there might be a bit of money and the soil's good enough, I mean, we might have a business after we're done with that shack.
Well, that's definitely something to keep in mind.
If you need a courier, I might know someone who knows writing messages and packages.
I would imagine so, given your history.
Yes, that's a joke.
Is that shack yours? Which direction out of town is it?
That's to the southwest, out of town. You can take the south road out of town for a ways and then just head due west. Probably further than you want to go, but like I said, it's kind of not necessarily the Badlands, but definitely it's Badlands.
So, in what order do you think we should head out to raise the least amount of suspicion?
Probably send Bang out of town first. He seems the most noticeable, as it were. Or minor.
I don't know who this Bang fella is you're talking about. My name's Minor, and definitely not Bang. I can go first, though.
I would ask if Bang should be allowed out without a minder of some sort.
Now, that's just rude.
You raise a good point there, Hank.
He's actually very good on his own, as long as he has a task to do. And Miner's task will be to make sure that everything is clear between here and your property. And look for places that will make a good defensive point, Miner. Should it come to that?
And places we can blow up shit and fall on people with. Yeah, gotcha.
You got it.
How far out of town is this? Hank, how far out of town is this? Like, we got no horses.
It's on horseback. It's about 3 hours out of town. Well, let's shorten that. On horseback, it's 2 hours out of town.
By the time we walk there and walk back, it's going to be tomorrow.
Well,
I can loan you some horses.
what about
They're I do have a wagon.
because we're going to need some barrels of water and a few supplies.
This is correct. So I can loan you some horses. I would appreciate if you did not melt or explode those horses.
Or eat.
Look, if you got to eat a horse, you got to eat a horse.
That's why you
Sometimes
don't name them.
Alright, let's shift Elliot away.
Well, that's an old cowboy thing. Never name your horse because you might have to eat him.
So,
You first, man.
go.
I was gonna say, if we're trying to get people out to kind of go through town and head back, I can take my leave first.
Well, I'm thinking Mina goes first. Alexander and Amanda, I'm thinking if you two would gather the supplies we need and take the wagon.
Even though we've been seen together before.
That's why the two of you being seen together again won't raise any suspicion when you leave town together on a wagon.
All right, that makes sense.
And I'll mosey on behind you a spell.
And Irene can come when she has news.
You got it. Everybody good with this plan so far?
I'm in support of it.
See no current issue.
Sound good to me.
And I see your eyes twitching.
I'm good. I don't mind this plan at all.
All right then. Let's go ahead and get started. It gives us something to do while we figure out the rest of it. Although I do have a bit niggling in my brain that is working its way loose, and I think I have an idea.
I'll just need a horse, and I can go now, and then you guys can spread out over the rest of the day.
Hank?
Go out around back of the house. Do you know how to saddle a horse?
Oh shit! I don't even know how to ride one.
I can at least saddle the horse for him.
Okay. Well, this will be some interesting wild die rolls to see how far Bang makes it.
Other reason I sent Bang first.
Yeah.
I have at
It's
least
okay. If we find anybody on the side of the road, we'll help them out.
Yeah. The siblings are gonna just find him laying there, broken back,
stupid horse.
somehow already in a full body cast.
I melted my horse to make the cast.
You melt one asshole.
Just come raining down.
Yeah.
Oh, somebody clip that, please. So yeah, if somebody saddles up the horse, I will leave town on that horse.
I'll saddle.
Okay.
However, when I get about half an hour out of town, I want to stop, get off the horse, take a couple of my things that aren't really important and break them and put them on the side of the road and just let the horse go, and I go off the trail and work my way back to town.
Okay. Give me just because I'm a shit. Give me a ride, that wild die ride roll to see if you take a
that's
spell before.
That's a 4, right? Because I don't have the skill.
Yep.
The D4 and my wild die, or just the
Yep.
wild die.
I'll let you do both. There's
Okay.
an off chance. We'll give you
A 2. Nope. And no, I didn't sneeze. That was my roll.
okay. So you
I don't have to
definitely
fake it. I actually fall off the horse. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Perfect. That's perfect. I leave a bang mark in the dirt. I get up. It looks like the horse has run away because I don't try and catch it. And then I go hide in the trees and, well, not hide in the trees, but go into the trees and try and work my way back to town. Do
Okay.
I take any damage from the fall?
No, you're wiry and you expected it. Doesn't say you spent the whole time like God, shit, fuck, God, shit. Like you just.
I've been falling off horses for years.
Yeah, that's right. I think by now you would have learned to use them, or at least invented some sort of glue to keep you in the saddle. But
Ass glue.
yeah.
Nope. So that's my plan. Over
All
to you,
right.
Red Leader 1.
Okay.
Until Bing gets involved.
It's fine.
Not gonna make a mess. You just
fine,
weren't gonna
nothing's-
believe that he wasn't gonna make a mess, so he decided not to tell you what his plan was. But he's not gonna make a mess. He's a very smart boy.
All right. Well, while Bang is falling off horses and then staging it to look like what happened.
Yep. Oh, I even have MacGyver, so I can make it look worse than it did.
You can.
Yeah.
You'll have to give me a
Oh,
roll
no.
for that
Yep,
one.
absolutely. I get a repair roll, which is D6, and I get the wild die too, right?
Yep.
3. Not so good. But
Not
still,
so good. I mean, it still looks like there's a
That's
mess
my
there, but
that's my add-on. So yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, and
All
then
right.
and then take off. Yeah.
so the siblings Ambusthorn, you are sent back to get supplies to grab the wagon. It's still waiting where Hank left it, so you can get it loaded up, and it'll cost some money to get the barrels of water, food, whatever other supplies you're gonna want to take. But unlike everybody else, Amanda wasn't like robbed by Handsome Jack, Honest John. Wow.
You're not the only one.
Giving
Jake.
away
I
your,
really did
giving
that
away
right
your
there.
inspirations
Yeah,
there.
new name for him too. Okay.
Handsome Jack,
What
Honest
planet
Jack.
are we on again?
Pandora? Oh, wait, no, sorry. Totally wrong system. I do kind of want to run a game in that system, but anyway,
Badass would be really cool.
it really would.
Oh, no.
I think that's actually a thing. Anyway,
It
so okay,
I know someone with the system.
I'll file that off for like a one shot or something. But for now, focus. We're back here.
Yeah.
Yep.
You get your supplies. You head out of town. You give me notice rolls. Let's just see if you actually even
Oh,
notice that Bang fell off the horse.
5.
Is there a modifier for survival, or no? We're just gonna go with straight.
No, I'll give you a +2 for survival.
21.
Okay, well,
Exploded.
massively exploded. Holy
Yeah.
Jeebus. Okay,
Once.
Damn it. Damn
well, it becomes
Damn it.
very clear.
That's
At first, you're like,
5 successes.
yeah. At first, you're like, oh no, Bang fell off his horse, and then you realize he kind of fell off his horse, but it looks like he got up,
Or
tried to make things look worse,
Well-
which to a layman would probably work, but
Well-
to an experienced survivalist, you realize he did this on purpose. Absolutely did this on purpose, and you even see little Bang prints
Oh, I love it. Actually, I absolutely
Like-
love this.
making it back towards town.
Ah, decision time for Edward Alexander.
I'm just gonna tell my sister Amanda. Bang went back to town, but it's fine. Just keep going.
If he blows himself to kingdom come, that is his doing.
Yep.
At least it'll have a label.
I can actually see Bang making a bomb and then just
With the
bomb.
label. It's gonna get blown all to hell, but it had a fucking label in it.
If you want, we can leave. Something so the others. Oh no, the others will assume we picked up Bang. It'll be fine.
All right, well then, eventually, Moses, it's your turn to make it out of town. Since you seem very competent, Hank has given you a very good horse, nice saddle, the whole kit and caboodle. Bang Prince, I love it.
The
and
creepy
if
part
you
is,
want,
if you click on it, it says it's a forbidden site. I just made it up, but it showed up, so I had to click on it. It says 403 forbidden site, so I've discovered a secret government website by being an idiot.
nice. If you want to make the notice roll to see what Alexander and Amanda saw, you may do so.
Or
All right, you notice the spot where it appears that somebody diminutive fell off a horse and left a mess. That's not quite enough to get the incredible forensic level of detail that Alexander had. In fact, I mean, that roll was so good you knew what he had for breakfast, which unsurprisingly was ghost rock smoke and whiskey. But,
Yes.
You can tell, but you can see somebody fell off, left a bang-sized print in the dirt, and then wagon, like relatively fresh wagon tracks, lead on past.
Well, the siblings went this way, and I'm not seeing anybody here. I'm going to assume that whatever happened here has been dealt with. And continue on.
Well, all right. And Irene, what are you doing while they're all shenanigans?
She's probably just gonna go back to her room and make sure Shirley's doing all right, and maybe knows about town about some courier jobs in case of just to help give a reason for her to be riding around town and the surrounds.
There are definitely some courier jobs that you, with your history and you're known in town well enough, word of other Pony Express riders and the like, that you can get some short escort jobs. They don't pay a lot because they're not going super far, but especially this might be of interest. They're always looking for some decent pistoleros to escort shipments from the new Ghost Rock mine back and forth.
Yeah, she'll look into that.
All right. Well, it's a pretty short interview. Like I said, you've got a good reputation, and you can obviously very easily demonstrate your skills if needed.
Yep.
Little trick shooting and whatnot. So you're hired on pretty quick. They're just, you don't have to stay there all day. They don't need guards until they're looking to move things. So you just need to come by in the late afternoon, before the sun starts to set, just so that they can make sure they've got everything locked and loaded. They have all the guns ready, and then they can bring it into town, put everything into the vault constructed specifically for said Ghost Rock. Then you get your pay and you're on your way.
All right.
And that'll be a fairly regular occurrence for really the foreseeable future, unless the seam runs out or something untoward happens to all the Ghost Rock. But that could never happen, could it?
Yeah, there definitely won't be any bangs happening there.
All right. Nope, there might be a minor.
Any minor occurrences.
Minor, untoward, minor. That's his new name.
It's a minor bang.
Is he?
It's just a minor problem running around.
I'd wait till the end for the big bang. Most people think it was at the beginning. Nope, it's going to be at the end.
Yeah, we've got our theories about that.
We do.
Yes.
All right. Well, bang.
Yes. Once I get back to town, I want to hide in the trees until it gets dark, and then
There are no trees.
Or sorry, hide in the dunes, the scrub behind a cactus. I'm gonna stand like this behind a cactus for 4 hours. Preferably squares, so I just don't look like an idiot standing like that behind like a little round cactus. But you know what I mean. I want to stay out of town until it gets dark, and then I want to sneak in and find somewhere I can see the back of the Gold Strike. I want to see where the staff come and go.
Oh, that's actually pretty easy. There's around the Gold Strike takes up a fair amount of space, and there's some separation between it and the neighboring buildings, unlike a lot of stuff here in Tombstone.
And I rolled an 11 stealth, just in case.
Very nice. Super sneaky. So yeah, you definitely scuttle around and you can see the back of the Gold Strike. It's definitely a wider and longer building than the surrounding buildings as well, so it's just kind of sticks out. There are some, of course, along the back behind the businesses and stuff, some little houses and whatnot, but most of them, once again, are set kind of away because, the Gold Strike doesn't want riffraff being too close and disturbing their clientele.
Yep. So I just want to look for like I just like I said, I just want to make note of the staff doors that they're going in and out of. Do they appear to be locked? Do you have to knock to get in? Is there a special knock? How well lit is it back here?
There doesn't appear to be a special knock, but there are some very large double doors at the back. Looks like it's where a lot of the deliveries for food and alcohol and everything else that's coming in are set.
Yep.
The doors do appear locked. Somebody always knocks to get in. A little hatch pops open. There's some light. There's some words exchanged, although it's kind of hard to tell as soon as that hatch opens. Even though it's at the back of the building, there's still that kind of, that slight cacophony of a bar, saloon, casino, brothel in full swing 24/7. That something is said, then the doors are unlocked. There are obviously armed guards at the back door, one outside, two inside, at least over the course of the time you're watching.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, and I'm willing to spend most of the night. Eventually, I'll just do the drunk passed out in the alley thing. I mean, I'm right behind the big bar, right? There's probably 10 of us in that alley. But yeah, I'll catch a little bit of sleep later on after the bar closes. Just crash in the back alley like a drunk and try not to get rolled. I got nothing to steal anyway. But yeah.
That's fair.
That's my night. See, I didn't blow nothing up.
You didn't. It's true. The rest of you arrive at the shack, and along the way, you've seen no explosions, nothing melted. Doesn't look like anything was set on fire. Alexander, you don't notice any like hoof prints or anything recent that to show that anybody's come this way. It's pretty obvious that wherever Bang is, he ain't where he said he was gonna be or where he was told to go.
Yep.
And somewhere, Hank is just sitting here going, "Fucking told you so."
Yeah. I saw him basically go back to town.
Yeah. Yeah, so you
saw it
kind of
again.
knew, and but it's very clear. Not only did the tracks go back to town, but none of what he was told to do happened.
Yeah.
And so you guys know. Moses, however, had no clue until he arrives. The shack itself is in relatively decent repair, pretty sun bleached. It's got some heavy shutters. It doesn't appear to have been broken into, probably because everybody knows that it's pretty decently far out of town, and everybody knows there's nothing valuable here. Nobody would leave anything in a shack like that. And no wild animals appear to have gotten in and nested and made messes all over the place. Nobody appears to be squatting. It's just a rectangle with a slightly pointed roof, a bit of an overhang for at least some shade during the day, little though it helps. Trust me, I know. And the door doesn't appear to be locked. There doesn't really appear to be a key for it either. It's just a handle and a door. And no Bang.
So it's a greenhouse you can't see through. Gotcha.
Pretty much. I mean, you can open the shutters to let some air through. If you'd like to bake in a convection oven instead of bake in, a clay oven in a kiln, but
Do we let the smell out, or do we bake? Open up the shutters after evening.
yeah, the evening helps. It's somewhat better in the evening.
So first things, getting this cart unloaded.
Yeah.
Which I don't think I need to tell you that, it's going to be a 2-person operation, or at least a 2-arm operation.
Yeah, pretty much. I fully believe Alexander's gonna be like trying to do it himself, and Amanda's just like, "I got this. You take care of the house."
Yeah,
I'm
and
surprised you didn't
Moses,
tell me not to plant anything in it, but I'm good.
I was gonna say, Moses, you arrive about halfway through the cart unloading. No sign of Bang.
Please tell me Bang's here.
He is not, sir.
We got here and there was no Bang.
Well, I mean, the little tussle on the side of the road was him trying to throw us off his scent. But he went back to town, and at that point, what he does is between him and, well, his ghost rock.
So whatever it is he's doing back in town doesn't disrupt what we're trying to do, and we have to plan from the beginning. All right, get off the horse and help unload the wagon. Where's his horse?
It appears he let it run off.
Well,
Because the horse went one way, he went the other.
horse is worth its own intelligence. It's made its way back to where it knows food is. If not, we may have to go chasing that horse down through the middle of godforsaken nowhere to make sure it gets back.
That's
Alright.
a fair point.
Bang. Evens or odds?
Odds. It's always odd.
All right. All right. Well, we have an outcome.
Excellent.
You'll find out what that is later.
That was one of the tumbling tumbleweeds ate it. Ah. All right, Ben. Get us settled in. Got an inkling of an idea, and actually, Bang not being here might be good. My thought is if John knows that Hank is out there somewhere and has a suspicion that he's looking for him, Hank's going to be how we lure John into the mine. And hopefully we can get John to try his little tuning fork trick on Hank, with Hank already being aware of it ahead of time. That's about as far as I've gotten.
Well, then I will let you ruminate on that because this seems like a pretty good time to close the curtain on our doings for the evening.
Absolutely. Which brings me back into this, because now it's my job to do the technicals, by which I mean the important bit, which is the thank yous. Anybody that has to play with me as a player in their game or as a co-player deserves a thank you. I have a plan. It's just it's a Bang only plan. So that's how Bang works right now. So with that though, I want to thank everybody that was here tonight. I want to thank Amy for joining us very much. Thank you for joining the group. You blended right in. You're going to fit in great as a character and as a person in our group. I can tell already, so that's good to know. Thank you for joining us. Thank you to Sarah as well as always, and all that busy world of yours. Thank you for taking the time to come and play with us and run games for us and all that good stuff. Same thing for Nick. You got a real life out there and you still make time to do all this wonderful things with us and play all these wonderful games, and I appreciate it a lot. Same thing with yourself, Shadow. I appreciate you taking time out of your days and out of your week to come and play with us. It means a lot to me to have everybody come out and play and put up with me while I do this foolishness. So I appreciate that a lot. Special thanks tonight to Bat Kyle. Thank you for running this game for us. Thank you for putting up with Bang in your game. I appreciate it. Yeah, we're having a great time, and I'm personally very happy that we finally got you onto a stream instead of just behind the stream in the chat. So I'm very happy that happened. Two more thank yous to the chat. Thank you for popping in this evening. Thank you for hanging around, and thank you for enjoying the show. I hope you did. For anybody who in the future who's watching on YouTube, hit that like button if you wouldn't mind. You watched all the way to here, so I'm going to assume you did. And also hit that little bell too, because my notification, you need notifications because my posting on YouTube skills are lacking in the extreme. I looked today and I'm like 5 behind again already. So away we go tomorrow. I guess what I'm doing tomorrow morning while I'm watching sumo wrestling. Anyway, that's my day. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for playing. Until next time, please be nice to each other. Good night.